and the Regional Executive Committee, led by Comrade Dada, and as the Regional Chairperson, and the Regional Secretary, Comrade Sasabona, and all members of the Regional Executive Committee gathered here today. I'm happy to see them here. Really, we love you, all of you. We know you contest for leadership is one of those things. When you contest for leadership, don't hate your comrades because you are contesting. Because your comrades are not your enemies. You just contesting. Sometimes if you decide not to contest, still is okay. Don't fight comrades like there is no tomorrow. These positions, we will have them, but they will leave us. They are not our positions. To lead is a privilege. Ndiyabona nani abanye benu makufuneka nicule abanye bathi mbalula iyo bantu ba bathi huye lo ufuna uba upresident. So hey, yabona no, these comrades were saying, yeah, no, I must be introduced. No, why should you introduce me? These people, when they were electing here in Nazareth, who were they electing? They know me. Even abanye bangazi bangibazi nendabeni, but bayangazi. Bangazi kahle. Ngawuze ngi-introduce ngiyo-introduce wangene nasebhokisini. Ngi-introduce one way. So comrades, thank you very much here in Johannesburg region. Johannesburg region is one of our biggest regions here in Gauteng, Gauteng province. And it has done well over the years. So comrades, members of the NEC, I'm with here. Comrade Sis Dinah, member of the National Executive Committee, who was speaking here and leading me to the podium and doing the introduction. Thank you, Comrade Dinah. Comrade Dinah is a member of the National Executive Committee, and she heads a special committee in the NEC that deals with awards. She heads that committee that decides which is the best performing branch, which is the best performing municipality, which is the best performing branch of the Youth League, Women's League, and Veterans. So Sister Dinah heads that committee in the NEC. Watinta bafazi. Watinti mbogoto. Our comrade here, member of the National Executive Committee, whom when I came in was laying the basis for my introduction. She was the former secretary of the Western Cape, and we deployed in the Northern Cape before, and then when we changed NEC members, we deployed here in Gauteng. Tinas Faninani, we rotate NEC members so that members of the provinces don't only know one member. And so on. So, comrades, we rotate them, and then she's here with us now in Gauteng. So, members of the National Executive Committee also present here with us here today in this important and special occasion. And then we also, comrades, want to pass our greetings to you, members of the ANC and our councillors and comrades from the branches. Last time when I was in this hall, I was briefing structures, and there's somebody here who misbehaved. After the meeting, went to Facebook and said things about the meeting, including the fact that nanegibu afela moya. So I didn't take him to DC. Then the secretary was TK Ngciza. So I reported to TK. I realized which is some benches because wishy-washy to deal with these comrades and discipline. No, don't discipline him, call him and give him politics. So I called these comrades and I called the branch to Luthuli House at Solpolaki boardroom at 6th floor. So I gave them politics. At least since then I saw them. There is change of heart. Because political discipline, comrades, you don't inherit, you assimilate. What does that mean? It means to be self-respectful to the organization is not to do somebody a favor. Is to maintain the decorum of the organization. And once you are in a meeting, this one is open because there's media now, we're going to talk about issues that affect people. We allow space for members to express themselves. And when we were here with the NWC visit, there were reports from the branches that came about, and comrades were given space to express themselves. So our organization is littered with acts of ill discipline across. It has become normal in the ANC. You know this thing that the president is praising DA. First people who attacked the president on that matter were ANC members. Abanye ke abatyiwa CR17 abangaxoliyo. Nabanye abazibiza ngokuthi zi-RT forces wakho uyabona umuntu wathi yi-RT force. Abantu abangaxoliyo nje. They were the first to jump on the bandwagon. Nanto ke into kaRamaphosa kade sisho. Thanda belungu. Thanda iDA nangu manje sencoma iDA. Ungaba ngajika ngapha comrades, a revolutionary can never be confused. You must be able to dissect and even do criticism. If you think that president have said things that he shouldn't have said, it's good to criticize, but don't be overboard and then become inimical and become an opponent from within. To a point where when we look at you, you have never said anything good. And you don't wish anything good for us. And today you want us to believe what you are saying about the president, you have changed. Not even a chameleon behave like that. You can't be changed. And we are not confused. And comrades, that matter in itself has been seriously blown out of proportion. And even the opponent, the DA, celebrated. Now, you see, the president says to us, first, in the same speech, ANC, eThekwini, when it does good, go to eThekwini, go to Ekurhuleni, and learn good, and go to Sinqu, which does good all the time. But we control majority of municipalities. My heart bleeds. He doesn't use those words, you know, that I'm using in verbatim. But what he says is that my heart bleeds in cabinet when the AG come and present there. And then the majority of the people who seem to be doing well, it means there's something that they are doing there. Now, over and above that, and then he says, we must go to Cape Town and ask them, what is it? And also check what is it that they are doing. But over and above that, clean audits, as you will have seen, do not lead most of the time to hard service delivery change on the ground. You can have a clean audit there, which is compliance. That you had 5 dukes bought with municipality car money, you are able to account for them. But at the end of the day, you did not spend most of the money in service delivery. Probably you are even a poorer municipality. But what it means is that you can account. So what it means is that Tina, as much as we deliver on the ground, but in terms of accounting, there is a challenge. And we have said what is that challenge? Is the mismatch of skills and deploying people who are sometimes do not have capacity in the municipality. Vele kuthatha umuntu nje ongana matric kuthiwa rana umasipala. Angazange warana umasipala. Uyabona ke mangatholanga no matric ungana no post matric qualification. How can you run municipality and account? Accounting ki dipalo-palo. So mangaziboni la, how will you then begin to account? It's not possible. So the ANC have admitted and then have been changing that in the municipalities and all of that, and making it a point that we deliver and making it a point that we change that status quo. And you'll see in the presentation that I will make some of the headways we have made and the delivery that we have brought to South Africa that nobody wants to talk about today. And I want to talk to the councillors of the movement as we do. Our councillors are doing a thankless job. Because the first point of call and criticism is the councillors. Councillor wenza lokhu, wenza nalokhu, wenza nalokhu. Our councillors are doing a thankless job. Bakhona abanye who are not following the orders of what needs to be done. Ufanele sibavuselele. Uyabona? Bathi vuka mawulele. Sibavuselele ukuthi mama bhuti sisi ya vuka. Lapho ukhoyo lento iphethe idinga abantu. Lento iphethe ifana nenkonzo. Mawuli kansala uyafana nomuntu oyipasta uvule icawe. Angeke uphumelele kulonto ungaxhomani nabantu. You will never succeed, whether good or bad. You will never succeed if you don't connect with the people. Connecting with the people is not always about good things. Ufanele uye bantwini ubatshele bathe bakhathale nguwe. Bathi hayi uyasikhathaza lo mfana okanye lo sisi. Yena uhlala ekhona la. Nama ufaka izinto zingena kwiward yakho ubabizi. Bangazukhala ngenye imini bathi abakwazi. In reality, comrades, there are people who, some of them, since we deployed, have never called a community meeting. Nje umuntu no ungacabangi wena uyazazi mos uyayibiza. Angikhulumi nawe. Wena mawibiza ungakhali. Angikhulumi nawe, ngikhuluma nalo ungayibiziyo. Ilapho ke i-monitoring ye-action plan is going to focus. Ukuthi comrade yini inkinga? And some of the challenges we've got is that there is no connectivity between our structures and our public representative. Ukhansela u-engagewa nje yi-branch makazokhishwa. Bafuna umuntu wabo. Bafuna ukukhipha ukhansela. Why is it that the ANC branch doesn't work with the councillor? Ngoba fanele nibe into enye nibe nje. Akunjalo ngoma comrade. Ubani ozongena phakathi kwethu if C1? Akekho. Ukhansela makangayenza into zakhe koneni. Makukho umsebenzi kukhuma ama project makabrief ibranch. Ukuthi kukho okuncane okuzayo la. Angayohlanganisa abantu bakhe ekoneni nechomi zakhe nobani bani ekoneni. Makahlanganisa ibranch. Ukuthi branch apha we have been given work to do. And that's what we need to do where you comrades are working, because you are doing a very difficult job. Abantu, you are in the cold face of delivery. Uyabona abantu bakhale ngombani kukhansela, ngicabanga nje ukuthi le khansela kaThixo izawufumana phi umbani. Umbani utsalwa kude. Abantu bawela ukhansela ya basiservice nombana ukho. Ukhansela uyavuka amanzi akekho. Ufanele umuntu kaNkulunkulu agijime yonke indawo afunane namanzi. Ajonge kwikhansela makathola report back ukhansela makabiza abantu abatshele ukuthi kuthiwa amanzi azoza ngelesi sikhathi. Manje ku difficult that time because you are dealing with the matter that affect the people's lives directly. Mawufuna ukuxabana nabantu mvimba amanzi, umvimba ugesi, uyayiqonda lonto. Umuntu makangakwazi ubona iKaizer Chiefs idliwa njengayizona. Problem. Okay. Umuntu makangakwazi ukubona iPirates iwina njengayizona. Xabana naye. Uzoxabana nalo muntu. Uyabona? Because you are now affecting. That's why umphakathi uhlala uxabene nathi. Because umuntu akayazi ukuthi no. Umbani uzobuya nini. Amanzi makahambile mawuthe bantwini amanzi will come back on Saturday. Bayaxola. They improvise. Phela thina sakhula kanzima. Amanzi manje ANC wathathili wafaka emajardini. Thina sasiwalanda kude amanzi. Uyabona lezi zinto zenziwa zimafia zibulala infrastructure kufakwa tankers and all of that kwenza ubutsotsi. Fanele baboshwe laba bantu. Funeka baboshwe. Siyazwana. Imibhulukudu. Faneka iboshwe sibophe kubonakala ukuthi siyambamba umgulukudu. Now what is important is that lezo zinto siyazazi abantu bakuthi sakhula ngenhlupheko thina siyayazi abantu bakuthi when you have told them that there will be a displeasure, but when you told them that amanzi azobuya Friday, you know ukuthi akunamanzi, and then in the meantime kuzawuhamba these tankers. People align themselves. Siyalungisa lapha sanunyamala. Denza umzekelo ngoSiputla. Uyabona uSiputla Ramkhopa. uSiputla akabaleki makuthiwa electricity nyamalele siku stage 8. Uyavela lapha eTV. Noma yena akafani nani. Ukude bantwini nina niphakathi kwabantu yena ukukhuluma eTV. But akabaleki. Uyabona nina nisebunzimeni, nisebantwini. That's what I'm trying to explain ukuthi you are in the cold face. When people want delivery from you, you don't explain it on TV, you explain it direct. Yeah. uSiputla yena but akabaleki. Uyasho uSiputla ukuthi yewe uhambile ugesi kuwe istation ezi5 overnight and then this thing will be fixed within 5 days. Akayenzi lonto uSiputla. Uke wambona egijima. Akajiye ku TV vele. So uyayi explain lonto ebantwini. Into enzima kabi le ayonto elula. It will not give you a good name. When you pass there, people will be saying derogatory names. It will not give the ANC a good name. It will not give the ANC a good name. Once I don't have water in my yard, people say, this ANC, we are tired. But the ANC must live up to the expectation of going to the people and telling them that this thing that is so difficult, we've got this challenge and this problem, and this is how we are going to fix it. So our councillors, our mayor, our MMCs must be visible to the front. I was very happy. I even sent our mayor, Comrade Dada, a message when I saw him talking to angry residents. Ngava ngixolile. That you yabona Mashot, I'm very happy about you. Naye ngimbone TV. Uyabona. Ngamncoma uDada. As our mayor ndithi shoti uyibambile mfana kithi. Because uDada, the only time ngizibona ukuthi nami ndingumuntu kuma neduze kwakhe. Mbona ukuthi no I did him how are you chairperson uyangibona nawe ngihamba straight. So I'm saying that in itself, comrades, they say the daily escalations of the people's demands is a symbolic process that intensifies on its own and it sharpens itself. You don't live in the sky, you live among the people, and people forever have got issues and they never change. And what is required of us is to be among them and babonakale ukuthi sizikhathazile ngabo. Kudala ANC councillors, we will elect you here ubona umuntu ajampe iwater yohlala kwenye indawo. Sayiphelisa lonto le. We elect people where they live. So that when those people don't have water, they don't have electricity, nawe awunayo. Bangathi uyabona eZambia uke wafika pha eLusaka ngesikhathi sika Kenneth Kaunda. Every month and kuselwa ibhiya lapha eZambia bathi imosi. Imosi ibhiya yaseZambia. Imali yakhona ikwacha. So month end bajabulile amaZambians aholile bathi I'm KDK yay bathi Kenneth Kaunda bayamncoma I'm KDK bajive kwasa ke phana akumnandi eZambia inyanga mayiphelile. Uyabona imali mayiphela zilanda boma 15 udibana naye bar uthi uyambulisa ubulisela phansi. I'm sure the only man who can afford a beer at this time is only Kaunda. Uyazi ukuthi iphelile ikwacha. Uyabona ukuthi no, it's no longer KDK. Very lovely people abase Zambia, you live with them, they are lovely people. Ukuthi makangathi ungabulala umuntu fana ukuthi andiyazi intoni, they are very peaceful and they are full of jokes all the time. Even that, when they say it, you laugh at it. So I'm saying, comrades, that in terms of our situation here, living amongst our people, we are the shock troopers. We are the first who witness the cries and the challenges that our people face. When they are bitter about us, nina ni test drive ye ANC. And you will be the first to be blamed for everything. Ningothuswa ngokuthi bakhona abomavuka bevela. You know, comrades, there is a period in our struggle where you knew an ANC member will never cross the floor. And today it's easy to see a person with our t-shirt nje. Nazo lezi t-shirt zethu ziningi manje. Uyabona, which is good. But it was a shock when you see comrades going to the other side of other political parties. But today, that is happening because of self-interest. It's easy to leave the ANC. Tina, we knew with the ANC we can't leave because we have signed here, because we are tied to the people. Even if you don't have a position, you stay. Because the ANC is the vehicle of the people. And that is why in the document that Moses Diana going to present on the NGC, it says to you, the people have lost trust in the vehicle but have got faith and believe in our ideas. Abantu basakholelwa kwimicabango yethu nento esithe sizawuzenza, but abasakholelwa kulento siyikhokhelayo ngoba sithi simosha igama iANC. iANC into yabantu kakade, comrades. It was not going to be a shock that after 30 years there will be others who look sideways and forget where we come from. Unfortunately, the task to serve and to keep the ANC alive as this vehicle of the people is on your shoulders. You must not look elsewhere. There is somebody who's going to come and do this work. When I was not SG, I used to say everything I like because I had no responsibility. Umsebenzi wami was to go to the NWC and complain and speak like as if I'm Marx himself from the grave. You know, comrades, I don't think the leadership is doing things correctly. I think we should have applied the negation of negation on this matter. Gone. Nowhere to be found after the meeting. I've told them in the meeting. That was my job. And I thought that, no, ndiya politika man. Umcimbi ndiwuphethe. Then I became SG. Mangibona into eTVini ikhulunywa ngeANC, ngikhohliwe ukuthi yimo khokhela yakasekho omunye manje ngizocomplaina kuye. And then they said, did you see what the ANC do? And did yeah, man. And ndimo kufuneka defend manje. Ukuthi who said what about the ANC? Where? That time it was easy. Did yeah, ngabo Mantashe, what do you expect from that guy, Mchana? Ngambona kulankomfa simkhetha ukuthi there's nothing then. It's easy to say that about a comrade. Would you know about that and about Sasabona and all of that? And so on are a problem, the RC. Nyalwa niya sabotajana, comrades. Ema branching. Nenza zonke izinto ezirongo. Xa nigqibileyo nisiblame kwabanye abantu. Anibizi ma BGM kahle maniqeda nithi problem ndim. Mna disayinela into ephambi kwami. Andinazi nonazi branch what 11 nenzani. I'm not there. Ndiyasayina nje pile tool verification. My verification ungayifuni khalaza la kimi. Ukhalaza ukuthi SG la verification uyisayinela ayiyo. Then ngithuma team yonke investigate libuye ngereport. Nina iproblem yenu you are divided. Ngento ze leadership. And noba angazi ningabiza bana no soze nibe united, but we want you to be united so that sizo confront izithazi to see united. But divided we fall, united we stand. Slogan say UDF less. Lento sikuyo, and the moment we are in need us to be united. You must not all the time look at other comrades and think you can rise at their weaknesses. Yes. There are comrades who will say, we are one among Afiki, la comrade Mbalula, khohlwa next year imkile le what? Ngimzwe ukuthi ngamanye amazwi uthi mangifake yena. Yena uzoyilungisa le what. So ngizibuze ukuthi yini le yena nayo? Must try to keep the comrade, must ukumfaka yena zayizisa. Entsha right. Because you need to tell me what is it that this comrade have done. Because nami ngimela no Ramaphosa lapha mekhona, it doesn't mean it doesn't have weaknesses. Sinazo sonke. But we have been given a privilege to lead. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that when I have departed, now you are the best. It's not correct. And all the time, what we do, we invest our energy in getting rid of others. Nga addressa i-caucus yethu la eJohannesburg. Ungababuza bonke ama-council. Bengihlezi nabo lapha. Ngathi nilwa ngani ngoba we have lost here. Uyabona saluza la saluza iPR ngabona ama-comrade kunzima. Dingayazi lento sizoyihlanganisa kanjani. Umphomo werani, may his soul rest in peace. Anzathi no Nchameri ayinka kiririnka jwang. Dithi mpho rinka jwang. Nangihlala nompho nodada baxabana. Ama-comrade ajwayele ke ukuxabana baphinde bavane baxabana i-roller coaster. Nawe mawuhlezi la niyaxabana manje ema-branchini. In the last conference, lo muntu uxabene naye impintshi yakho linje. Manje senijikile nisajongana emehlweni. Mawumbuza ukuthi nixabaniswe yini? No. Yeah. I-problem ukuthi lo muntu akangakunakekela. Uyabona mawujonga i-organization on the basis zokuthi umuntu makanyulwa funeka abe beholden to you. You are in the wrong space. You will never see my potential if you have elected me to be beholden to you. Yabona mina kukho abantu abangisupportile eNazareth baye bangikhumbuze ngo5 ekseni ukuthi hey ungakhohlwa mtshana yazi last time sithi besigijima la mina ngibaphendule ndithi ubugijimela ukuthi uzongiphatha kakubi ngolhlobo. You know, one president gave us problems. He was a good president. Besihlala naye masifika kwakhe simthole yedwa fika lapha kwakhe kungekho abantu bengamfuni because he had many challenges. Ubebhekene netrongo ngapha kuthiwa uyaboshwa. Abantu ababezi cabinet ministers zakhe bamshiya enganachomi nothing. Uyabona abangani umuntu abuya kutshela ukuthi ndine 50 years ndiyazi le comrade ingekho icomrade ye 50 years esale yedwa sifike lapha ngisho kuyi birthday abangani bengekho uze uphathwe yinhloni ukuthi what happened, this man is so lonely. But you've got to give them the respect that this person is a leader. I can't treat him in this position of weakness like he's my friend. Let me treat him like he's a big thing, even in a moment of weakness. Azokwazi ukuthi azinze, he must stay where he is. So we used to give this comrade big respect. Kungekho bangani. Comrade Khalima used to tell me that when they were in Robben Island, Abo Mandela bebengahlali nawo. Can you imagine? Wonke umuntu bese Robben Island ebona uMandela ekhala ekseni. You lose morale most now. Ukuthi ngibona inkunzi malanga isitsho isikhalo this morning. Hayi lento sikuyo madoda. I mean ngiyaretire kuyo. Nawe uyahamba vele. Ukuthi umbonile uDiba King in the morning. Hey, ikhalile la nkunzi yonke kunzima. Uyabona na ukuthi hey I lento le moral phansi. So Comrade Khalima used to tell me, Mbalula, it was a conscious decision ukuthi size Robben Island. Sitshela amabhunu, sisilwa ngesisu sethu nange hunger strike. Ukuthi amakhehla makahlale wodwa. I-orders beziphuma laphana kwi-group of 8. Izidalwads eRobben Island, oMandela. Zihlele phansi, i-message ihamba. Mawuke wabanjwa ke, i-message ihamba special ejele. Uyabona? Ifikele ke kuma comrade kwindawo ngandawo ixoxwe idaba or political education kuthiwa no. Uyayazi ukuthi lapha phezulu wherever they were, if you have been and visited Robben Island, you will see that section. Is it section B? Where Abo Mandela were at. Nabo Walter Sisulu, Nabo Mkwai. So when you are in that section, uyaziwa ukuthi uhleli namakhehla. So uthi that demarcation was necessary. Not because all of us we couldn't be there. We had to fight to create that demarcation because in Kokeli we didn't want to see their weaknesses. Kwitabe sigulu. Nale Nkokeli le ndinitshela ngayo. Once yakhokhela ama-comrade banje bacabanga ukuthi they must tell him what to do. Ngabuya la political education ka Comrade Khalima kimi ndathi kuma comrade youth league. No man. Lo muntu angitsho bese nkingeni. Nina manje nicabanga ichomi yenu. Anizange nambone ngupresident. Miyekeni, give the man a chance. Don't think you can control him. Awayihambela ke wazanazana zo yey. Kwabanzima inkokeli ayabona ka isikhokhela. Umntu awusoze umanzi up until you give him responsibility or her responsibility or umfazi umnike irresponsibility. Umbone ukuthi irresponsibility uyiphatha kanjani. And irresponsibility begins here on the ground. ukuthi abantu and the responsibility the movement has given you uyibamba kanjani ukuthi how do you respect this responsibility going forward if irresponsibility uyinikiwe awuyikhathaleli uhlala udakiwe uprioritize awutyala bonke sonke siyabusela majority ndiyanibona la ukuthi niyadlula embodleleni but inkokheli doesn't drown embodleleni ubona inkokheli ayisacontrolwa zingcingo zayo. It's not controlled by how he must think now, it's controlled by the bottle. Then you must know revolution is in trouble. Kukwenye comrade ke ya deploy ANC e China yathi mayifika pa China every day iyaphuza makufike breakfast ama China colors I Communist Party yafonela lapha eLuthuli House bazisa information ukuthi sine problem man I-revolution ise safe lapha eSouth Africa kwathiwa wa nithumela omnye umuntu la uhlale edakiwe every day amakomanisi axakile ukuthi ANC what happened nithusa abantu emazweni ngembodlela uyabona inkokheli ingena iphelele kanti umuntu une problems zakhe so inkokheli cannot drown maungenayo etshwaleni funeka ungene uphuze uhambe uright ungangeni lapha uhamba straight uphume so hamba ngelinye ihlobo ubiza abantu bathi abantu babathi ngubani lo ugila abantu elihlobo bathi asibona baba ANC sesingenile sonke kosokulomdako wakho sonke silapha sizilalele thina ekhaya silapha you are misrepresenting us nasetshwaleni uyasimisrepresent so you must know responsibility that I'm a councillor of the ANC. I'm a councillor. I belong to these people. I cannot misbehave anyhow. I've got the responsibility. Doesn't mean ukuthi abafundisi abahlali endaweni zabo. But if umfundisi wesonto lakho uhlangana naye ebushayile uzowe immoral. Ukuthi hayi esontweni lethu siyabushaya. Uyambona ubishop wami uyabutya obomlungu uyabona isonto lelo isonto ngeke uyibone isonto liyenza lo even here irresponsibility begins here ukuthi responsibility going forward exponentially how do we behave so iqala la comrades that's where it starts and then going up. Our conduct first as councillors is to ensure that we connect with the people around their issues. We are there with them. The ANC is the largest political party in terms of constituency. There's nobody who comes close to us. We exist in every ward. Yeah, in the roll call, we had 5,000 councillors. And those councillors came from wards and PR. Abanye baxolisile ngoba message bawuzwile ukuthi eyona nto ezakwenza ungafiki lapha eDome is if kunokufa or uyagula. Some comrades did not come. Even nalaphana nginibona niyasukuma shema niphatha kangakahle. But you behaved because you understood why you went there. And you came there orderly. And we delivered the action plan and the president gave you the marching orders. Those marching orders must be implemented on the ground. Marching orders is not what the president says and then you organize yourself around that and distort it. Marching orders is the action plan. 6 pillars. From this meeting here, we want to see you everywhere. We want to see you in your wards. We want to see you as MMCs, as mayors in this city of Johannesburg. And continue with the good work that you are doing. And you must be organized in doing that. There must be a systematic program that the region is following. We don't exist for conferences. We exist beyond that. Conference will come and go. Abanye badliwe enkonfeni because it's not a given. Ukuthi xa ucontest uzawubuya. Thina kudala singabuyi nisijonge kahle. Sishawa lapha ezinkonfeni, siyayazi conference. Ungazosithusa ngeconference. Sijwayele ukushawa enkonfeni kugcwele, not nina nje, kugcwele izwe ume lapha uthi I'm standing. Ushawe kakhulu. Ingene iswazi. Ube nethemba ukuthi uzawungena ku-additional members nakhona ushaywa. It's nobody bigger than the ANC. Sasizitshela ukuthi hey mina ndiyi-president ye-Youth League ndingu-SG ngeke ndiphume ePulukwane ibindimi steering ngiphethe laphana. Wangishaya ugwede ngakhohlwa isicathulo eBloemfontein. And that's the honest truth. Ngathi ngisabhekile ngivuke eGoli manje ngijonga i-additional members ziyangena. Hey, abantu bengicontesta nabo Paul Mashatile ngibona benyuka laphana bebulisa abantu bemane bebuyizo dithi hawu madoda. Hey, ngithola i-journalist ngithumela i-message bathi awungenanga nakozwe additional ngalanga. Hayi ngalala ngesisu. Amathumbu amasebenza. Ngavuka the following day ndi ex-NEC member. From being an organizer of the ANC and a member of the ANC ngavuka ngeyolutho. And ngiyayenza le example lapho ngihamba khona. Ugwede Mantashe, the person I contested, brought me back. Ngengekho la if it was not Gwede. Umuntu ebengimcontesta who had an opportunity to finish me off. Ukuthi letwana kudala ndixelela ingandicontest ngizayibonisa. Wandibuyisa uGwede. Mina nicabanga nje ndonyula zange ndonyula was brought back as a co-opted member. That co-opted. Wandi co-opta umqwathi ngalankani yakhe iza benukuphula nje ingqoshe akulimazi nabuya. So comrades, I'm giving you an example if it is about myself, not for personal aggrandizement. Ngikubonisa nje example ukuthi lana sizanga uzobulala. We didn't come here when another comrade you have defeated in a conference umqanqatha. Uva abanye besithi asokatsama kathuka dieta ke mutlweni andimyeki. Some of these comrades have fought in the struggle udibane ne comrade impunga. And then we are proud to know where now you have dealt with your comrade. We shouldn't. Ayonto yethu le. Into yabantu, and then fanele sihloniphane nathi. Singahambi with the view yokuthi we must destroy you. If we have not destroyed you, if you are not finished, we are not done with you. You know, we are going to go to a conference here, regional conference, here in Johannesburg, biggest region of the ANC. You know, it is. Johannesburg is the biggest region of the ANC. You look at the biggest townships in the country are in Johannesburg. You talk about Alexander. If you want to attack the ANC, you attack it in Alexander. You attack it in Soweto. You attack it in Diepsloot. Which other region has got that in the country? Ayikho. There's only one Soweto in South Africa. Iwanje. Iwani Soweto azikho ningi ila in your region, and you live among these people. You know we delivered here, comrades, and I'm getting to that point now about what we've delivered, and our enemies don't want us to talk about it. As at the Stats SA 2022, census showed that just over the decade since 2011 census, we continue to make progress towards universal access for all. Manqale ngalento yamanzi. Manqale ngento yamanzi. Let me start with water, electricity. Those are basic services we brought to our people. So when they say everything was good under apartheid, they don't know what they are talking about. 1994, when we came into power, everything was not accessible to our people. Yes, lunatic fringe and racists are the ones who had access to everything. The majority of our people didn't have access to everything. The RDP talks about meeting the basic needs of our people. We drafted the Reconstruction and Development Program from the people from Ready to Govern. Ready to Govern was our blueprint of how we are going to govern South Africa. And this thing started way back when we adopted the Harare Declaration and the ANC constitutional guidelines. This thing of connecting with the people does not start now. I'm not talking about the Freedom Charter, which equally was about connection with the people, and the people say, what kind of South Africa you want? And the people said, we want a South Africa where the people shall govern, where the doors of learning and culture shall be open. We were gathered here at Wits University, here in Johannesburg, in the Conference for Democratic Future. Other small political parties left here in CDF, Conference for Democratic Future, talking about the constitutional guidelines. We moved from there to the kind of South Africa we want. We and our allies produced the RDP. But when we produced the RDP, we were going to the people and saying to them, when the ANC comes into power from Ready to Govern, we've got policies. But when the ANC practically comes into power, what do you want us to do? Abantu bacho. Re batla metsi, re batla motlakase, re batla matlo. Bacho abantu sasifaka ku RDP. But in the RDP, we didn't answer the question, where is the money going to come from to fund these things? When we came into power, we then got a bankrupt state. Safika lapha. President Mbeki explained it very well. We didn't find anything when we got to the union buildings. We had to self-search ourselves. What needs to happen? The economy was bankrupt. We had to avert the biggest civilization that they wanted to beset South Africa. So I avoid. Youth League, you will know. Lulu Johnson talking about to hell with the Springboks. And Mandela saying that the Springbok doesn't go anywhere. And you know you didn't have your conference. And Madiba said, I'm not giving them money. They must see for themselves. The reason being, Constantine June and all others and the right-wing fringe in the country had put up armaments to brought this country down. And the Springbok is one of the things that they were going to use to bring about civilization. And then Mandela said, no, the Springbok is not going anywhere, it remains. And Mandela said, privatization is the policy of the African National Congress from London. He didn't consult anybody about that. He said it there in London. And then when we wake up, they said, next to de Klerk, we have now reached this stage. And Mandela makes a big pronouncement there. the armed struggle is suspended. And we, militants of the ANC and many of you in the trenches, who believe that we're going to get into Pretoria with bazooka, and then we're going to get into Pretoria marching with our arms and remove apartheid. And in our strategy and tactics, we're talking about the armed seizure of power. It didn't happen. The conditions, material conditions, did not allow. And that's where Chris Hani says, in a party as big as ours, as much as I did not agree with what Madiba was announcing, I had to subject myself to the collective. I was very angry because I saw these young people. I knew them with their names, who they are, where did they train. I saw some of them perish in front of me, training as guerrillas to come back and fight. And yeah, the ANC says the armed struggle is suspended. We had the longest of talks with the ANC leadership in Small Street about the armed struggle. They talked to us as the Youth League why the armed struggle must be suspended. And we're arguing there that the armed struggle must not be suspended. And then they said, no, armed struggle is not a strategic goal. It's a tactical intervention. We didn't understand that. To us, armed struggle was about the armed seizure of power. But this armed struggle was not that. It can be turned on and off. We're not abandoning it. We are just, and then we had to take a lot of young people out of the country to go and train in Uganda. And then we changed that into the regular army because the country had reached a boiling point in which there was no reverse. We're just going forward. And everybody now gained consciousness. Mandela was released and all of that and so on, we're marching forward. So armed struggle, comrades, was not a strategic goal, it was a tactical intervention. And then we suspended the armed struggle. And then when we arrived at Nazareth in a consultative conference of the ANC, the first consultative conference of the ANC in the country was held in Nazareth, in the Johannesburg region. Umkhonto weSizwe announcement and all of that we put down arms was here at Orlando Stadium. Angiqala ubona abantu begcoke camouflage engingabaziyo at Orlando Stadium. The armed struggle was suspended. We got into power. When we got into power, we found a bankrupt state. The ANC leadership had to implement what was called Employment Growth and Redistribution Strategy, GEAR. That was the second armed struggle. COSATU, Communist Party, and everybody said this leadership under Mandela is hijacked, it's neoliberal, is selling out. They were correct. It was neoliberal to suspend massive spending on social issues. But the ANC, through GEAR, prioritized meeting the basic needs. Not all was abandoned. For us to survive, because Amabunu thought they've locked us in a cage, we're not going to survive this. They said, no, don't worry. Those ones will enjoy political freedom and all of that, but we have locked this thing. And then we came with Employment and Redistribution Strategy, GEAR. And again, we had to be educated that GEAR in itself, is not cast in stone. It's something that we can change down the line. What does it seek to address in terms of economic terms? Macroeconomic stability. For a bankrupt economy like ours, correctly so, who were ideologically astute, because this is a neoliberal agenda. But we and Brazil and other countries in the South were in the same vein. And then World Bank introduced structural adjustment programs. South Africa did not subject itself through that. But Zimbabwe and other countries became victims of this structural adjustment program. And therefore, we had to also transform our state-owned enterprises through a program called restructuring of the state assets. Masingena la into power. Abelungu bebebhukuqa ko Aventura. Aventura were state-owned assets. Sasithengisa ukuthi why should the state own or Aventura amadamu? Bhukuqa abantu abayifiwe nje. Umbumnandi bomdyolo ophucukileyo wabelungu. Sasithengisa lezo assets lezo. In order to fund the reconstruction and development, we started to hear concepts like exchange controls and all of those things. We started to hear FDIs and all of that. Where is the money going to come from to fund the RDP? But the ANC, what did it do in terms of reprioritization, in terms of that challenge that we faced? The ANC then said, we will implement basic needs to our people, starting with water. And then ANC introduced indigent policies for the people abangathatha ntweni. That time South Africa were 33 million. 33 million that time. And therefore 3,000 water, Dada can clarify that, and comrades here, we started to give free of charge. Ungadlala ngamanzi nje lapha 3,000 whatever, free. Electricity, people were not exposed to it. Inilibo mutu amona, flashlights. There was no electricity connecting the households to the grid. Wamutsiba mutu amona. Yeah, the flashlights in the townships. Zakala zapagama. The flashlights. They started the flashlights, apartheid though. They started the flashlights in the township when they were implementing what was called Wind, Heart and Minds, WHAM. And then they created the Eagle Slabs and the Vigilantes and everything else. The Wind, Heart and Mind strategy was when we started to see those flashlights. The ANC in 1994 started to connect the whole country, including in the villages, to the grid. Wangena electricity yangena nasemkhukhwini. And then yangena nasenqo. Ezilalini and everywhere else. And then we started now. When we used to get water nifola equini in your street, we took that pipe down to your house. Endlini. Waqala waba ne tap namanzi endlini. But we cushioned the poor still. And that is when we implemented, it has been proven now in 2022, 82.4% of households have access to piped water inside their yards. In 2022 compared with 73.4% in 2011. This is what we've done. This is what we've done. They don't want that story to be told. It's a reality. Here's the story of water, aging infrastructure, old reservoirs. Utata uyayikhumsha pa kumasipala. Ufana nami uzenza i-water engineer. Mina bengipha ku transport ndizenza i-transport engineer. Ndiyazi laphi engineering ye-transport. I-ANC ivele yasinika i-position ezinkulu nje. Yathi Minister of Transport ngandizilungisa nami emadoda. Makujonga i-history Minister of Transport yake yaba umbalula. Uyabona? Bathi umbalula itsibela ka transport obana. Ntwe ayina matric ye man. And so on. When they insult us. But the fact of the matter is that below us, we must then employ people with capacity. Because if you don't have people with capacity below you, who are going to assist you in terms of delivery, and you direct policy for these people you have put in front of you to implement. Ulomuntu whom you call an expert does not have the capacity, and including yourself, you are not trained for this. Then how do you go in to see solid delivery? You're not going to see it. Then that's where the question of capacity comes in. That's where the monitoring of the ANC comes in and must work. So when we appoint people to meet our own needs of factionalism and tendering, the ANC must come in. Ikalimele obusela nobunyoluka obunganangqondo. Because if we are like that, it's unabated, this thing about corruption and all of that, we are not going to get where we want to get to. So we have delivered on the question of water. 71% of households now have access to flushed toilets, compared to 60% in 2011. We didn't have that. The ANC policy through the RDP brought this into play. 88.5% of households live in formal dwellings in 2022, compared with 77.6% in 2011. This is the practical thing that you see, comrades. You see the expansion. When Herman Mashaba was in charge here, and they said he's delivering, he was delivering informal settlements, working with his friends on the other side. That's why they cross swords with the DA. Baxabana lindo ukuthi no ubevulela ama pipe la informal settlements. In reality, Johannesburg is hard hit by urbanization. Everybody comes from everywhere else, come and settle here. And secondly, you've got people who are not supposed to be here. They are here. We are a country that respects the Geneva Convention. If you run away from another country for whatever reason, you go through the border, you are registered, and then you are given shelter and refugee status. Here in Johannesburg, any vurputs in Ngazang and Aibona. And Dada, you and your team, you can't leave that struggle and that challenge to the opposition. You can't leave that challenge to people who are xenophobes. That struggle must be led by us. Must be led by us. I was a minister of police, I know. I used to come here with Herman Mashaba. He was the mayor. I used to come here with the police. We get into buildings. These people, when we take them out of the building, South Africa. And then I'm a police minister, what is Batin? Johannesburg must be assisted working with Home Affairs. Lababantu must bakotus. Abangana mapepa must bakotus. Or spabeke somewhere midway. Spa process. Mamela. So, because they don't have papers. They steal your watch, your everything, do petty crime, disappear in those buildings. You won't find them anywhere. And Johannesburg is hit by that. And somebody who is owning a building here in Johannesburg, the reason why we can't crash that building is owned by somebody who somewhere in Europe he can't be found. Comrades, we can't struggle with one and the same problem. If somebody is not here, let us use expropriation that have kicked into law. Destroy that building. Use expropriation to destroy that building, and then Once you destroy that building, you will be able to utilize it for something else. That is what expropriation, that law we have passed, that AfriForum have went to gossip about us in America about, is meant for. And that is what we must understand, comrades. The biggest challenge that is facing us here. Not these people, they call themselves names and all of that, hating others and all of that and so on. No. It's not our nature to hate other Africans. It's not. Bongani Mkongi was my deputy in the police. I deployed him at Hillbrow. And then I saw him on TV saying things that what's happening? That we tata and we tata. Why you Tuesday ukuthi xa kafike Hillbrow akaboni mntu amazi. Abangajikanga apha. Wabona Hillbrow wathi hey no minister imbi into endiyibone pha. Sizaba nomongameli ngenye mina ongaphumi kelilizwe. Wathi nongiyibone pha ndithi asoza phume kwelinye ilizwe because he must be registered here. First umongameli welilizwe. Kubonakala ukuthi was here. What we are faced with there is illegal immigrants in Hillbrow who have hijacked buildings. They make people to pay rent, including South Africans, and then they've run down Hillbrow. That's what has happened there. So you've got to create not a dialogue. You've got to create an action plan around this challenge so that all other departments of the state come in. And Joburg must lead as a hard-hit municipality on this question of illegal immigration. Johannesburg, under the African National Congress, Udada must have his summit here. That is just going to deal with immigration. Zininzi summit. You can imagine if you come out of a summit and then you bring a solution from the city of Johannesburg. Uguti comrades, this is how we have resolved the immigration issue in our city, which is hard hit by this. Because everybody who comes through the Limpopo, the first city they are rushing to is Johannesburg. And that's where they are coming, illegally so, through the borders. PMA is doing a great job, and salute to Mtswaledi. Leave this thing that DA claims everything that is not theirs. You know, they don't have, they don't hold back. You don't claim something that is not yours. We are going to buy claim, you know, we are working. Portfolio. He claims everything. PMA is them. As long as it is good. But if it is not good, it is the ANC. And that is what they do. Nina ya no tuza, Lord. Niambe ni mamela na banda, but no, ANC, DA, half-baked ideological theoreticians. Nibalandele mva ukuthi siphuma kuphi nalezi zinto. ANC has never sold out. Umkhomba ndlela iNDR. Sisayibambe lapho. Up until NDR reaches the important stage, which it has not, we will be able to talk about liberation. That's why we still shout, Aluta continue. The struggle is not over. That is why we still talk about economic freedom. Because we said at the turn of the century, when the ANC was turning 100 years, this must be characterized by economic freedom in our strategy and tactics for the first time in Mangaung. That's what we said. And in Nazareth, where President Ramaphosa became the president of the ANC, we then became specific to that strategy and tactics. We then talked about radical economic transformation. It is in the ANC strategy and tactics. We linked that with policy, and then we said in terms of policy, we must expropriate land without compensation, giving meaning to the strategy and tactics in terms of what needs to be done. The balance of forces are not in our favor at the present moment to effect that. Comrades, you must be aware that the land program in this country is not going to come on a silver platter. These people are not going to surrender land for free. They are going to turn this country into rubbles if they are to surrender land. The reason why they are not responding to Donald Trump's call of America is because kusemnandi la ekhaya. But the minute we change the gear, we've got enough power and we accelerate transformation. Uzaqala ubona ukuthi what is the meaning of struggle? You must go and ask them in Zimbabwe. After Lancaster, the British and the Americans agreed to intervene in Zimbabwe on the land redistribution program. And then they implement the policy of willing seller, willing buyer, which is what we're doing here. And we have moved away now from that in terms of restitution and all of that. And now, once they moved out of that, they implemented what was called a radical land redistribution program. Mugabe, they stripped him off and they ran Zimbabwe to the rubbles with sanctions and everything because they started to introduce regime change. The idea of a regime change and the fact that the ANC is problematized in our country is because they want to reverse the NDR. They don't want us. They want this country to go backwards. And if you show signs of transformation, they want you to hold it there. AfriForum will never tell the truth to South Africa why they run to America. The reality of, they know there's no racism here in this country. Why they run to America is their attempts to seek to suppress and reverse transformation. That is the major threat. Now, once we amass power, we win votes, we've got 2/3 majority. Masingadlali ngayo. Makuzwakale ukuthi fikile le 2/3. Efunwa ngabantu bakuthi. After the ANC, and it's not a statement of arrogance, there is no one who will transform this country. Once they wipe the ANC out, it's over. As chocolate is manazivela, into ezimnandi. That is not, those are not organizations. Those are not organizations. Chocolate into ezimnandi zexeshana. We are born now chocolate, you are eating stadium, pipe, you want another one. And a clown diabetes is a problem. You can do sweet all the time. We are born. Yes, it's a problem. No, don't eat sweet things. So, as it was in Nand, as manazivela and all of that, like popcorns, are going to disappear. And we must not allow them to think that they can transform the country. Comrades, 94.7% of households now have access to electricity compared with 84.7% in 2011. And you know what is the problem of electricity in Soweto? People were not paying for electricity. We had a big liability there. I was there with the president when we got 57% in Soweto, Koshawelo, Papezu, and all of that. And then people didn't have electricity. Over and above the vandalization of the infrastructure. The transformers were destroyed, coming this side of Diepkloof and down there. Those people didn't have electricity for many years, up down there at the back in Naledi. People don't have electricity there. Even when everyone else is connected to the grid, bona electricity yabo yavela ya nyamalala because they destroyed the transformers. So the critical question for us is, how do we bring communities into this action over and above everything else, being supported by the municipality and so on? It's a point of priority, and that's what has actually happened. And if I'm not mistaken, Dada can clarify that point. Why are we not making noise, comrades? That we reduced the liability in the city of Johannesburg as the ANC from where it was. I don't know where it is now. And then we brought new models of electricity supply among the communities. Why are we not leading around that? You know, the mayor of DA came here, Omnyusisi nje apha ebengugqirha. The first thing, and then this young man who was leading Tutula wearing camouflage, Uban, Ulax, march for him up, march for her, la. Lwasisi, second day as an office in what? Tina asizui entertain into a liability. You either pay or we switch off. Straight in the face of the people. What? You either pay or switch off. We switch off. Why are you Cholondo? Because he was elected by the constituency that is not affected. In the suburbs. Abelu. Who are not affected by what is happening in Soweto. How the ANC came to disappear around that campaign and what we are doing there in Soweto and the communities is unbelievable. Our story of moving residents from Alexander, that is one aspect of the household, the number of houses we've built. President goes there and then he says, no, la Alexander bamkat. AI. You call it AI today, but bamkatun. And then he says, seza kwakha izindlu ezilingana nemiliyoni eSouth Africa yonke. Ndihamba no minister la warehousing. But you know, Ramaphosa promised people of Alexander 1 million houses. The same thing that now they go up and down saying, no, president endorsed DA. And then they were quick to run that story on WhatsApp groups. And then we corrected that. But there's nothing they can do to challenge the ANC except snippets of distorting social media and communication. Besides that, there's nothing. The reality of the matter, comrades, is that we moved people from Alex to Deep Slot. We built houses there. We built a flat lapha. That story nasiyeke. Sisuse abantu Alex. Abanye manje sebehlala ngale. And the ministers and the MECs and all of that are still busy with the housing project in terms of Alexander. But I'm not talking about something that is still coming. I'm talking about what has happened. And then let them dispute that. That's what we've done as the ANC. We have tarred most roads which today could be affected by potholes in Soweto. Abantu abaningi abahlala Deep Slot and so on, even when the other side we've built houses and moved people partly from Alex to that side, they wouldn't want us to talk about those things. And comrades, there's urbanization. Many people come from outside, come here in the city. And how do we address that particular challenge that is facing this city? And I'm sure you are addressing it. But the question is, it is not voluminous how you are addressing it. So, what is of interest to everybody is the ANC sinking. And the ANC that does not address this and that and that. I was talking to the media outside. They don't talk about things that Dada and the team are doing here to address issues and so on. They asked me about some leader who was announced yesterday. So I said, no, but how is that of interest to us? Tina, we don't koto, comrades, others. We follow our own story. It is the voter who will decide what must happen? Tina, let's do what we said to our people will do. Let's leave others. In no time, there's going to be music going on in here. Because there is a leader announced here. And all of that. And the ANC is expected to run behind that story. And these people have got much airtime from the media. Baba Vusa Belele, Vuka, wake up, come. The ANC people are sleeping, come. How many things have you done? And they are not profiled. And then other mayors who have just come in now, who have been told they are doing well. But with all what you do, but also, comrades, I want to qualify my point by saying that let us not claim easy victories. And also, let us own up to failures. But let us be visible and not be accused of sleeping on the job. Let's start first among ourselves. This question of accountability starts here. Johannesburg is very compact and a small region. Regional secretary must have weekly reports about the performance of councillors and branches. And give those reports to the REC whenever the REC meets. Here are the weaknesses, so that when you deploy CD, as Ochazem, ayo attend a problem pa. Uguti comrade mayor, comrade councillor. So nentu kunga busy meeting according to schedule. What is happening? And then ANC deployees must rotate. Don't change deployees to become branches. Branches also have got a role to play. Our role as branches is to motivate and become activists. Where the ANC delivers, we must be there. So Johannesburg is very small. We must rotate here. Uyodlula ngapha Orange Farm. You know, we arrived at Orange Farm during the campaign. There were no lights. Those people voted for the ANC. And they were complaining. And then we were there campaigning at night. And the lights went off. But on the day of elections, go check your stats. Orange Farm voted ANC. That tells you a story, comrades, that our backbone is the working class. And we must serve it and serve it well. So if we don't do that, our people will lose faith in us. We don't care about them. And sometimes I know, comrades, you think the organization comes hard on you and that you are made sacrificial lamb as councillors. I know you have that feeling among yourselves. Uguti no, your organization is like you blame and blame it. And then not to faneka snippy we must reduce. You know, when you are told every time, I can imagine the umfazi wami every day makagcoka ukuthi yazi wena ugcoke kahle man. Uyabona? And then avele the following that esho ukuthi udikhatile. Hayi ndibona ukuthi no, did you uyabona today you are at another level. But even when she comes like that ndiyamtshela ndithi hey, how lento man will never be. Now we indoda umfazi wakho endlini makakutshela every day ukuthi yazi daddy kwafuneka ndikuseshop. The first thing you think as a man is that lo mfazi usho ukuthi kulapha jona khona uncomparison nabanye abantu. No, but why when usoloku ungitshela ukuthi ngigcoke kanjani? Yeah, in the mind, psychology yakho yazi le fro hleli namajita lapha uyampompa. Angi understand into efro yami every day angigcoke ukuthi ngigcoka kanjani. Uyangibona mina nginjani? Gcoka kanjani mina? Every time lo mntwana lo uyangitshela lapha endlini ukuthi no man ndichinje this. Ndiyabona ukhona le out yabona ulandela le out ufuna mina ngigqoke njengayo. And mina ngizuyenza that day. So every time you are not being appreciated, you comrades, we must tell you without patronizing you, most of you, you are doing a wonderful job for the movement. And I want to tell you that there's no one who's going to win an election without inspired catership. ANC asizoyiwina thina, sizoyiwina nani on the ground with our membership. If our membership and our public representatives are inspired, we are winning. It is not the first time we were told that we are at 30% and we are losing, but we fought back because we worked with you, comrades. A grounding, a grounding, because you were inspired to defend the revolution and defend your organization. We will never be in a position to defend the revolution and our organization with members who are not inspired. And as much as I make example about personalities and lifestyle in terms of social activity and behavioral patterns, but it hits in our situation. Abantu abangasebenzi who have got nothing to do with this organization, people who are working, we will defend you. Akho mntu uzokususa usebenza, because we'll ask a question. Nimsuselani uThemba, because nayi report iyasho ukuthi le councillor iyasebenza. Angeke simdefende nkosi yami umuntu ongasebenziyo na usixolele. Apho uzofuneka udede labanye. Noba kusho ukuthi ke mhlambe ungahamba waya kweminye imibutho ungaya kodwa masivulele umuntu osebenzayo. But those who are working, they will be retained in their job. And I'm telling you, even our guidelines will ensure that. And comrades, we are very happy that some of you came here not with the requisite qualifications, but you are living here. Some of you as graduates. Ageko umntu ozela ANC implement 10 years of catership development. Kuyafundwa la kwa ANC. Namdilani zonbono ngeke kudala. Kuzawufiwa. Umuntu ongafundile inkinga yakhe leyo kuvuliwe manje. Ariam skolo sifakwe ngumbutho. And most of you have done that. Udada une masters ngiyambona uyachansa lo mfo. Ngizomgqitha apha endleleni. Ushaya nge-masters ezimbili. Uyabona ukhohlakele. Leading from the front. Nani zani ma comrade nala kwi-RC ndiyazibona zikhona izifundiso. Yeah, zikhona. Nala emabranchini zikhona. Yes. I-ANC makunika ithuba uyikhansela bari muchapa lo mucha skolo. Yeah, funda comrades. And since the last election, majority of our councillors, we went an extra mile to get councillors with matric and post-matric qualifications. But the ANC cannot, when an activist is working on the ground, akana's qualification, city no, aga qualify. Siyamfaka uzawuqualifya ukuya phambili. You'll be trained here. This organization of ours is a training school. Azange sazalana ngoba sizi engineers. Education does not teach us as revolutionaries to become braggarts. It teaches us to assimilate, but at the same time, to showcase in action what we have been taught in a classroom. So the question of theory and practice is so zimbili. That is why a revolutionary with all the practice is God. He can sit in a class with doctors. Bazibuza ukuthi lo muntu ufunde kuphi. Kanti lo muntu lo wafunde Robben Island lo. Azange ayibona teacher phambi kwakhe. Ungamona mos noZuma nawe samfundisa. Of course, that is true. Akafundiswanga kuphi, ufundiswe la ekhaya. So ithathe lanto sithi manje uyihlanganise ne formal education. You are a complete human being. Akho muntu uzokutatsha. You are complete. Foundation course ngena uchola. Uyicancela ngena ku foundation course. Ngena ku foundation course because that teaches you the basics of our organization. You will not be dominated by political people who want to hijack you. You will not. You'll be able to read and see the difference. Akho muntu uzawuka hijacker athi awu president ukhuluma this and that uzothi but wait ube sithi, and then we defend. And you know what you defend. Councillors zethu, you are doing a great job. And here are the pillars of our action plan. These pillars and our action plan, I'm concluding now. We are going to look at it every 6 months. Every 3 months. Ngo-November, i-report siyibeke ezilangalaleni. Sizotsho la eJohannesburg nenzani. Ningadumi nje ngokulwa for inkomfa, sifuna unibona nangomsebenzi. Ukuthi le RC iqhubana. Eniyangikhuthaza le RC yaseJoburg ivele indityhafise futhi, inikhuthaze ndityhafise. Ndingazi man lama comrade man. Anjani man lama comrade. Ngihlangane nabe ground nibeyibophile kunzima kumnandi. Uyabona? Ngiyayazi makuthi by election eJoburg ngiyayazi hayi sibuya nayo. Uyabona ngiyayazi sibuya nayo. Uyabona? Ukuthi lama comrade ayibophile la. Awungiphinde ngivuke ebandla ngise Eastern Cape Joburg. Kunenkinga kunantoni. Comrades, don't be destroyed by things that we can change. That are internal. Be concerned about things we cannot change. Into zokuthi ubani uzawukhokhela uzawuthini, it's within us. Uyabona manje bafuna ukusibambezela nge-succession debate. Nani niyakholelwa kuyo henye heke. All of a sudden you look at your leaders in terms of that. Kukho abantu abangasebenzi nje abadlanga le succession. Abanye bakwi payroll. Umjonge nje ucomrade akasebenzi udla ngalento. Ukuthi nonkokheli ndiyiphethe umcimbi wakho. Singabantu bakho la. No bakubamba ngalonto nyani ubona inkokheli ikholelwe ngabantu bayo lapho. And then you victimize others. Comrades, when you are a leader, you can't lead factionally. You must lead people through organizational structures. And then and you must even go to branches as ngakufuni. Uyos convince when you live there that hey, sapantuz lahleli inkokheli. This is a leader. Because we get elected in these conferences, abantu awubazi. Umuntu umnyule umthemba. Akuphoxe. Masohambile after 3 months uthi saze sayenza problem. And ungazikhuphi ngoba nguwe lobuhamba phambili uthi siyamfaka lo muntu. There's nothing wrong. Don't feel bad mawenza iphutha. Yeah, don't feel bad ukuthi hey salenza iphutha. Anamdala ndilityathi idombolo comrades. Namanje. But it's not my problem, it's a problem of a collective I was leading with. But lento yaqalwa ngabombalule ePulukwane. Uke wamva moso umnyutata omkhulu wethu. Makakhuluma ngePulukwane akaxolanga nix. So, but you know lento yaqala ePulukwane. Ubone nyani ukuthi hey nyani ePulukwane. ePulukwane saya kahle. Akho phutho salenza. Amaphutho enzeka after. Uyabona, but azange senze iphutha. So the thing is, we didn't commit mistakes. Mistakes happened after. And we realized those mistakes post. And that's what has happened. So, comrades, pillar one, we need to act on core service delivery commitments to citizens. We must immediately identify the challenges or pain points for communities in our wards. Let me pause there. That is pillar one. Pain points. You know what is happening in your ward. You can organize yourselves in the ward. If the problem is crime, to deal with that. The only crime you cannot deal with is imanibizo emaphepheni. Leyo ifuna inkunzi malanga zamaphoyisa. Yeah. Ifuna inkunzi malanga kukho utsotsi abaxakile la eSouth Africa. Otsotsi inkunzi malanga. Uyabona lezo is-syndicate and cartels. Uyabona. So those ones, the system must flush them out. The state and the rule of law must deal with them. Thina ANC siyayisupporta indaba ye-commission. Ningabe nimamela abantu. Miyekeni umkhwanazi ayigqibe into yakhe. Naye abanye baze bamphendule. That system requires to be guided by principles of natural justice. At the end of that commission, we will have connected the dots. Sizoyibona inyani ukuthi kuphi. Sanojaha. Kukho abantu abajahayo. Umkhwanazi uvele one day sebeqedile my value commission uqibile umkhwanazi. No, it doesn't work like that. Mnikeni chance ayibeke uyazibeka into zakhe lapha. Ivuliwe manje lo mcimbi. Nithe upresident maka uchophele uchophele. Kukho abanye abagijima ezinkantolo zibakhiphe ngefestile. Umcimbi oshushu upha. So, comrades, we must follow what the organization says. So, what are the pain points in the service delivery? Potholes, water leaks, electricity, indigent registers, housing, and the deeds, title deeds. And then you need to develop a war action plan. Out of all these things I've mentioned, your ward must be able to tell us, Nina, yini nihamba phambili kuyo. You can't win them all. You may not have resources to close potholes, but you can win the war in terms of fighting crime. Patrol there and all of that. Ukuthi nje abantu bakuthi everything our father and so on. Pretoria funeka bakhokhele for everything they do. Because the system have taught them that there's no longer a social contract between government and the people. But people must organize themselves, and you must convince them that for us ukuthi sizonqoba ngecrime la, petty crimes in our local area, we need ourselves to defend ourselves against criminal elements in our local area. So your ward must say, what are you winning where you are? You can be a minister and every day appear every day on TV. You will become a jack of all trades, a master of none. Ungumntu we-TV nje. Uyambona uSibundebele wayedume ngento eyi-1 nje eNatal, Minister of Transport. Ukuthi mawungena eNatal alufakwa. And indeed, when you drive into Natal, if you are driving above the limited speed, you are arrested. Umuntu ekhala engakahli kuye eThekwini athi hey umuntu uyeThekwini ngaboshwa kaninzi kula ndlela yaseThekwini ene bengathathi itshotshwa amaphoyisa aseThekwini ase Natal andasibundebele waza ngeprogram wathi sukuma sakhe. Only those made Sibundebele to be known nationally. He was quoted even by other provinces. So in your ward, what is it that make you to be known about? Out of all these things I've talked about, what I call pain interventions. You may not have the capacity to deal with potholes. If you do, deal with that. There was a councillor la Soweto bathi nguwaya lapha eSoweto. He was at Luthuli House. President Mbeki used to make a lot of examples about him. Uwaya wa retire as a councillor maward engakakhutshwa. I'm sure he would have won many awards. Ngaya lapha kwiwadi kaWaya manje se-retireile. He built tennis courts there. Ngasa uSirina no Venice lapha. Kuthi abantu baseWethu bababona live yayindim than basepha. Bedlala itennis. Bangibiza ngokuthi nguRazzmatazz. Ndabasa lapha eSoweto, Serena no Venice. They played a match here at Ellis Park live. Uwaya is our councillor in Soweto who built tennis courts. Abantu bebemthanda ngenye indlela. But he brought private sector. Because he was at Luthuli House, he was able to grab ministers and everybody ngamajacket. Hey, ngena la. Pa eSoweto. Illegacy kaWaya is still there. That time in Soweto. So in your ward, Maui councillor been elected. Out of all the things I've said, the pain points, what is it A1 or 2 we're not doing? Mhlawumbe udume njengokuthi uNtswembu ngoLwisi otsotsi. Kuthiwa yoyo ungayisondeli la council khona xa iSunday ethwalela umnqwazi ublind kakubi. Unzima lo amfo unzima kakubi. Yeah, ungazi ukuthi iSunday udlile hayi. Unzima ngecrime. Abantu bakwazi nje udumile ngecrime bakubize nasezinkonzweni. Uzoshumayela pha ngecrime. Uyabona? You must have an action plan working with the branch. Ebranchini ke kukho abantu abayingakho abayilectwayo. Not less branches amaphepha ezingaexistiyo ezi-exista nje xa kukuyinkomfa. Ngithetha ngebranch yamampela. Babangaphi abantu bebranch nobhala? 15. Uyayazi kula 15 maybe only 4 will be working hard. Abanye baza nje makukho meeting bazokhalaza for iBGM nePPGM and all of that, but only 4 aba available nje umthole nje ukuthi ukhona ebranch. So Loma branch will understand their role in that ward, what they've got to do. First, an ANC branch must exist in the ward committee. You must have representative there. In the ward committee, ufanele ube nomuntu we-ANC kwi-ward. I-ANC branch must exist in the SGP, in the school, in the area where you exist. You must have an ANC person okwamkelayo nje esikolweni nje opolitshe isihlangu ingathi ngumalume uzobhadala ilobola. Uyababona abomalume abapolitshe icathulo uzobhadala ilobola. Yes mshana, hey bayabiza laba bantu. Yeah. Uyayazi umalume makaqeda ubhadala ilobola uyamlungiselela nje. Beningayazi ukuthi uyayazi ngidla lento mshana. Uyabona? And that is it. So lapana you must have an ANC person or specializer or deploy a branch to the SGP. You are in charge in yayazi kwenzakalani esikolweni. I branch leyo that find its expression into the community work. These are the things, comrades. Action plan esidingayo. Makazisi report unobhala ne-region. Bezisa kithi sifuna. And sizoyibamba nge-dashboard. All of you, we have put you in the barometer. And then you did the biometrics. So we're able to communicate with the councillor wherever you are. And I'm sure you saw our messages. We were sending to you, calling you to the roll call. Beniwatola. Anwatolanga. Yo, ile system week. I sebenza bad. Yes, but if you register ngokubuye ku roll call, kanga register sizonenzela umcimbi wenu. So that we are able to trace and support you. It's not always to police you. It's to show ukuthi where you are doing work. And what work we are doing, working with the branch. The second pillar is fit for purpose infrastructure. Planning, Maintenance, budget allocated and spent, and prevent vandalism and theft. Vandalism and theft you can win when we work with communities. All of these things, budget and all of that, belong at a particular level. So it means here in Johannesburg Metro, we must drive a budget that is able to deliver for our constituencies, for our councillors to have something to smile about in the wards where they exist. It's worse now where we don't have any control. We don't have the majority. Naba, we are in alignment nabo, bayazidinga izinto. So we fight over that. Capable local government and institutional capacity. Sengidlakazile le. Ngikhulumile ngayo. Yes. Yakukhala ngomantashe mantsidi. Mantashe ikhehla lethu. Ungakhali kakhulu ngomantashe. And then 4, reconnect with the people and restore trust. Yonke lezinto masizenza will be reconnecting with the people. And then 5, inclusive local economic development and job creation. And then 6, communication and a developmental battle of ideas. Umsebenzi wethu mawukhuphuke. Sanurela ku SABC. Lezi bathi intoni lezi into selfies. Sanuthatha selfies nje for free. Tatani izinto ezizasibeka emgangathweni to showcase your work. That's what should actually happen. Most of the time we take selfies for things ezingasizi ngalutho nje. Ezisicinezelayo. So comrades, those are the issues, those are the priorities of the action plan. The action plan must be implemented by the PC, RECs, and ANC mayoral committees, and ANC caucuses and councillors. If we are organized in this region, in this manner, and then we are all on the ground in terms of implementing the action plan, ubani uzosithinta? Akekho. Above all, ANC branches have a major role to play. As activist ANC branches, we must identify the top 3 service delivery issues in your ward. Sengikhulumile ngaleyo. Into eziyi-3 nje. Sigijime ngazo. Uyabona bengikhuluma nomnye umeya ngapha eBloemfontein. Did you know every Saturday morning or Friday you can have a program apha abantu abachitha izinto khona. And then you have a program with the municipality, clean there with your executive. You do that, and then you leave a bin, metal bin there for people balahle imiqomo up. You would have worked. Half of the problems would have been resolved for our people. We must ensure our ward councillor hold monthly community meetings. Monthly. If you have to hold them twice a month, then that's your problem. And that is your own effectiveness. But once a month, there must be a community meeting in your ward. Seaboard. And then lastly, reach out to all organized sectors in the community on our action plan. Abafundisi mabakwazi wonke umuntu nje ku ward yakho bahlanganise. Yabona? I didn't know ukuthi to buy a soccer kit is very cheap. Kangicabanga ukuthi into ebizayo le. And then abantu baloko besiza kum lapha ku department ye sports bazofuna isoccer kit. Ngaya ngenye imini shop ngathi bubungaphi lento. Bangitshela ngabuza lama comrade usho awukwazi nothenga isoccer kit uzoyifuna kum ku department. No, awuthenga isoccer kit man, it's not expensive. You can buy that and have a tournament elokishini. Ye netball ne soccer. In my township, at the end of the year in Botshabelo, where I grew up, the biggest tournament there, engazange ngayibona, organized just by ordinary people. Connecting with the people means that. And now, in my program of action, I've put it personally to support that program. Ekasi. And then I'll support them with this and that. Organize here in Joburg, take a little bit from Joburg. Ngiyihlise ngiyise eButhabelo. Ndithi no abantu mabasinika ibhaki labafana mabadlalela ibhaki. Ezilalini abantu badlalela igusha amacala egusha. Itime ewinileyo iwina icala legusha. Or iwina igusha bayidla manje abafana bayiqeda. So laphana ngithi no ibhaki dlalelani ibhaki. The team that has won, so I started the schools. All the schools in the area compete. And then I'm going to launch that program. So, angiyazi noma ngibize fikile Mbalula tournament or ngizoyithini. So noma ngibize ngomnye wama-comrade owaswelekayo eKasilam. Uyabona engimaziyo ukuthi no yayingibhoza le. Ngikhumbuza abantwana ukuthi where you come from, these are the people who fought for freedom, other than myself. So these are options you've got. These are the things you can do in your ward and perfect them. So comrades, we must use our proximity to power. That's one. Two, we must be accountable. Don't be afraid of the word accountable and accountability. Namdi ngunobhala. I account to the NEC. I account tomorrow, every Monday, to the officials. I account to the NWC. I account to the NEC. Midterm, we account together to the General Council. Maungumtu nje unga account indawo. Uhlunyuka. Ungumtu nje uzilawula uhlawunyuka. That is what's the problem. We has laula muswe. You don't account. Our business meetings, the PEC, uzbiza makufuna we. And that is it. We has laula. You're not accountable to anyone. Fana nobu cancel. You are not accountable to anyone. And so on. Don't doubt accountability. To us as the ANC comrades and activists, if you go through the foundational course, accountability is one of the fundamental principles of political discipline. Political discipline. Account. Mauye meeting in, you must bring back the report back. You must give a report back. When you come to Johannesburg to a meeting where UDF, bakulindile ekhaya. Benikhuluma ngani? Asiqale workshops axoxa ama dialectics report uyikhupha yonke njalo. Bayayifuna. Mawungakhiphi report abasakudelegate again to the next meeting. Nina nizophuma la namhlanje. Funeka niyithole le action plan niyo reporta ngayo kuphi? Ebranchini. Ngoba la kuza abantu abayithula, chair no secretary. Fanela nibiza ibhisi pha nibiza amalungu ANC niwa reportele comrades nanku ceba kuthiwe sijonge lapha sihlala khona nazi priorities niyayipracticalize nina on the ground. That's what you need to do. You need to report back at least within 2-3 days. Abantu bangayikhiphi phezulu lento ukuthi no bayibone TV. And then on the ground we must do that. So comrades, that is my conclusion. And I want to thank you. So today, everywhere in the country, we give you this. So this is the action plan. We're going to give it to the secretary, to the REC. They must give you in the branches. Here is speaker's notes. Ngoba kwa ANC mawunikeza abantu i-document yombutho bayayi-circulate. Uhlangana nayo kwindawo ongafanelanga uhlangane nayo kuzo. Bayiqopise ubone ukuthi i-cut and paste ye-ANC le. Bayibiza ngokuthi election manual. Abanayo election manual bayithatha la ukuthi they don't have it. Because kuphi pha kuma WhatsApp groups. Lama WhatsApp groups angwazondi but aka-serve purpose. Ya siyathukwa pha. Bengibuza amanye ama-comrade bayangibiza bangifaka kwi-WhatsApp group but not la eGauteng. Hayi la eGauteng ngihlonishiwe la. So bangibiza bangifaka kwi-WhatsApp group abantu abadliwe inkomfa ngapha kwenye region. Bahlulwe i-conference. mabahlula bayangifaka la ndithi manihlale kule WhatsApp group but yeah ulana we running nonsense ANC and then manjonga igama lakhe uzibiza ngokuthi ngujunior so mina funeka ndithi junior yena uyandazi ndingufikile and then mina ngiphendulane naye mangiqeda ukumphendula uzandi screen grab I circulate jonga umbalula uthini so uthukwa ngabantu nabantu beopposition kuma WhatsApp group so comrades masingarani ANC nge WhatsApp group ne Zoom o secretary abasawabiza ma meeting sasabona subizi RC meeting ne PwC nge Zoom ndabhala ileta la ndathi I Zoom meeting must pay uyabona lapha eLuthuli House not tomorrow asihlangani because upresident uhambile manje usemoyeni uya United States kuunga asihlangani tomorrow but ukubuke nje every Monday angisho niyo protester lapha every Monday but every Monday mayo eLuthuli House uzongithola upresident ekunangihlala lapha every day no Nomvula no TG si full time lapha nama comrade ababanye baza every Monday without fail baye ku government baseLuthuli uRamaphosa upresident weCountry xakekile Mondays is ANC days ayiyo kwenza ANC day sihlangana every Monday without fail Deputy President Mashatile Gwede Mantashe Minister sihlangana lapha every Monday singene ku NWC nina lani bizana nge Zoom meeting iCovid ayisekho comrades yekani ukubhiza meetings ANC funeka nijongane emehlweni ngiyaya lapha nginikeze ngereport ama comrade ayikhahlele le report but hayi SG le na le ungibona mina ngikhuluma angikhuluma into zami akibuyi litsi yabadimi soloko ngikhuluma into engiyithunyiwe na baba nganambeko abahamba bayongibetreya bebetray umbutho balika izinto ku ANC abo ke ma comrade ngamagqirha lawo akhonto uzayenza ngawo abahlala nama journalist bakhuluma umbhedo yegossip ikhona ke le reporter yabo abayithandayo iNewspaper engazibiza ngegama bahlala nayo etywaleni bagossipe ngeANC hey umbalula utheni iANC ayiranwa ngegossip comrades sirana ngqo face to face umuntu obalekela estratweni akayithandi organization wesma yinkokheli when is a leader angitshoni isikhethele ukuthi we must lead from the front so if we are the first to distort the ANC how do you expect our organization to be respected on the ground? It won't be respected because we are just running the organization down. Must let us blame mama member our organization who are disciplined by the way on the ground. Abakwazi ukulandela iorganization. So maqabani ngiyanibulela kakhulu. Ngelithuba lokuthi sizoni briefer la. By November even before that we must have gotten a report. But we are going to get reports after reports about the roll call and the implementation of the action plan. Makusetshenzwe comrades. I-freedom yethu ihamba sibhekile. This thing is leaving us sibhekile kuthi la. Akukho lula egroundini. Abantu abakho lula, they are not voting kettles. But bayayithanda iANC. You know, the other day I was in another school here. Ngiphuma umuntu ongumatshingilane esikolweni. Uyangikokotela efestereni, ngiyazidrive. Ningabatshela abaningi, so ngiyazidrive lapha. So uyanikokotela efestereni, ngithi lo baba ufunani. Athi hey, uyayibona lanto yeSABC. SABC yazi yini i-SACP akakwazi ukuthi uthi uyayibona la nto ye-SABC asho inkokheli ye-SABC athi uyahlupha lo muntu uyabona uRamaphosa upresident ukhulumile izolo jonga Mbalula lento siyibambile le ningayeki i-SABC iye ngaleni thina siye ngaleni masihlangane so comrade SABC ne ANC masihlangane